Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2019 career mode, episode number 33 today for the German Grand Prix in Season 2. If you guys did miss the previous one, the British Grand Prix, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. I don't know what happened to YouTube yesterday, but the analytics and whatnot were a little bit broken, so I have no idea if the majority of you saw the video, even in your sub box or homepage or whatnot, so just check in there. So if you did miss it, maybe there was something a little bit dodgy with YouTube yesterday, so be sure to see that one, because it was a very interesting one to say the least. You can probably tell by the thumbnail of yesterday's episode. And spoiler alert, it was a comeback drive because after turn 1, well, we're in last place. So I'm hoping for a much better race today and we can get back to, well, this fine form we were on of first, not first, not first, and well, the not first part that we did yesterday was very poor actually in terms of relative to Lewis Hamilton P8 to his P1 was a real kick in the teeth. Basically erased everything we did with the 2 wins and the second place we got of France. And so we have to do it all over again and try and build some momentum back here. And it doesn't help also the fact that into this episode we don't have any upgrades, and Mercedes do upgrade. That looks like a major upgrade for them and none for us, none for McLaren. So the gap increases in terms of raw performance on paper, but of course we've said many times now that doesn't really matter too much. And Germany was a pretty good race for us and our car last season, I believe, if I remember correctly, or at least I have fond memories of Germany as a whole in the F1 game as well. So I'm looking forward to this one with the new handling. Obviously, last time we went to Germany, we had the pre-patch handling, so looking forward to seeing how the track handles now, and just hoping for better luck, basically, than we had at Silverstone. Can't get any worse than Silverstone, because that was pretty horrendous into turn 1, lap 1. So let's get into Saturday and see how we do over 1 lap at Hockenheim.
Welcome back to qualifying, where we're waiting for the lights to turn green in the pit lane to signify the start of the session here at the Hockenheim ring for this weekend's German Grand Prix. Drivers tend to complain about tyre wear around this track, and the compounds on offer this weekend aren't likely to put that issue to bed. Is this going to be about who can make the tyres last?
Tyre wear is always something you have to consider to a certain degree. Finding a good car balance that suits the circuit will help prolong the life of the tyre, but it's true that some circuits, such as this one, are more challenging than others. How hard you can push them depends on your strategy and how tight the battle is around you.
Right, cutting in right at the end of our flying lap in Q1 here. Not too much to show you in Q1. Hopefully just making it through very easily. Very overcast conditions though, but no rain is forecast for the entirety of the weekend. So it should be getting sunnier maybe towards the end of the Saturday. Definitely will be sunny skies on Sunday. So no issues there. And so it won't be anything like what was the case in real life with the madness of a German Grand Prix. In real, I'm going to guess actually this will be the only time really the real life GP was crazier than the one in the game actually. Because I don't know, you know, the F1 game's crazy, but I don't think it can be that particularly crazy on calling, perfect time and coincidental when we come to the German GP in Season 2. If it does, then I'll eat my own shoe or something like that. I don't know, you heard it here first, so that's a promise made, but I doubt it. But we're going to come through into Q2 then, and finding the hairpin actually quite tricky, I must say, though, in this car still in Season 2. I don't know what it is, if you guys feel the same way at Hockenheim, but I feel like no matter how late you break into that hairpin, it just feels like the car is still a bit too early into the corner, and then the car just doesn't want to roll in as easily as other corners, other hairpins have on other tracks. I'm not too sure if that's really the case like in real life, because I haven't noticed too much understeer like that in real life. It certainly is a bit of a long hairpin, like a bit of a wide one, but it still feels very, very awkward in Season 2, despite the higher downforce and the lighter chassis there. So still trying to get used to that, really, but no matter, we still get through into Q3, and actually it's a real disappointment for my teammate Raikkonen, who gets knocked out there. To be fair, it's a madness by the likes of Devin Butler and the Toro Rosso to get into the top 10 shootout. Weber makes it in the Renault there, and the Williams car of Ricciardo, so that bumps out Ricciardo. So disappointing, and also weird to see no McLaren. We literally just saw McLaren were 3rd on the R&D chart, pretty much level with me on the chart, and so they should be, in theory, beating the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari, and yet they're still not there. So really still trying to find the actual pace when it comes to the reality on circuit when they start driving there, rather than what the R&D is telling them. So a bit of a shock exit for Raikkonen. It does mean he can maybe pull off a 1-stop in the race tomorrow, so maybe he can try and recover. Hopefully he can recover there and try and help us in the Constructors fight, of course, trying to maintain that pace ahead of Ferrari and Red Bull in the Constructors. We move into Q3 then, trying to take turn 1 as quickly as we can. A little bit of a wobble as we go through the exit there, having to go opposite lock there, so lost a little bit of time. But generally speaking, I thought it was a pretty good lap. Still quite cold conditions here with the sun not coming out at all. A little peaking through in the third sector, but not too much there. Hamilton now is pipped to the line by Bottas here, who set the fastest lap so far in this session, but across the line for us, and it is pole position, provisional pole position for us right now on that first flyer, and that was mega feeling for me, because I didn't think that was a particularly amazing lap time, but the speed was there, just like Silverstone. Didn't feel like great laps, but the speed was found. So we go through now for a second flyer and taking turn one a little bit better than I did last time, although losing a bit of pace actually, ironically there. But now we've got a bit of a tow potentially from that Williams car up ahead. We're gaining some time in the second sector into the third here, but not too much. You can see on the top right, we've gone purple, green in the second sector. Can we go green in the third or purple in the third to try and maintain this 1/10 we've got? Ricardo gets in the way a little bit, puts me off a tad with a lock up on the front left. At the moment, we're still provisional pole. Bottas second, Hamilton third through the last two corners. Lose a bit of time on the entry and exit there. The double right hand on the exit curve, lose a bit more time, and so it'll be a minimal improvement there. Across the line, I thought, is that going to be pole position, our first pole of the season? No, it is not. Although my team radio said a fantastic drive, alas, at the end is P3, and again, I'm left with a sour taste in my mouth there, because I thought it was going to be another pole, like it was the case of Canada, but just like Canada, we get pit to the line, at this time by two Mercedes cars. Bottas, though, is the one on pole, not Hamilton, so at least that's good news for me. Hamilton second. It's all rather close, actually, there, right to the top end, and actually really in the entire top 10, really, relative to how it's been in the, in season one, if you say. But again, just so close to that pole, and just yet so far there, so yet to get a pole position F1 2019 career mode. I said it when we did it at Canada, of course. I've never been a qualifying expert, but it would be lovely to get that first pole just to kind of reinforce that our car kind of is there to fight the likes of Mercedes, but we're just not there quite yet. But I know the car has better race pace generally than it does in quali. I'm usually better in the race than I am in quali, so looking forward to this one. As I said, love driving Hockenheim, so let's go out there. Sunny skies tomorrow. Let's go attack Hamilton and Bottas.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. We're racing in the Rhine Valley this weekend at the home of many of the sport's finest competitors. The 2.8-mile Hockenheim ring requires precision through the technical stadium section and great raw speed down the long, flat-out curve towards the popular overtaking zone of the Turn 6 hairpin. Watch out for a lot of wheel-to-wheel action there today. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. As with all the drivers at this level, they have a lot of ambition, but Formula One's a daunting step up from any other series, so expectations are high right from the start. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have the engineer, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Vettel, Gasly, Butler, Weber and Daniel Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Perez, Kevin Magnussen and Hülkenberg, Albon, Giovinazzi, Lando Norris and Roman Grosjean. Stroll and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So from third place then, we've got two silver arrows to attack ahead of us, and our strategy is going to be at a very aggressive two-stop here from the soft to two mediums. There is an option that people might try and go long on softs and try and go to a set of hard tyres for a one-stop. I know that the likes of Raikkonen and outside the top 10, they'll probably be starting all on mediums and going to hards for that one-stop, but I think the two-stop is going to be better for us. Although we did get caught up in traffic in a fight with our teammate last year, it did feel like the better strategy at the time if you're in clean air. I think this time, because we're at the front, like right at the forefront, we can get in that clean air and really try and take the fight. I don't know what the two Mercs will do. We'll have to see about that, basically, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to commit to it and just go with our plan. So here we go then to 5 red lights to the German Grand Prix, trying to make up for last episode here. 4 lights are out and we're on the way from third place on the grid. Hamilton's had a great start from second. We've had a pretty decent one as well into turn 1. The two Mercs side by side. Hamilton makes some contact with Bottas and shoves him off there into first place. He goes. That allows us to swoop through on the right hand side up into second place. So thank you very much, Lewis, there for slowing down Bottas, completely mugged him off into the exit of turn 1, and we are having a little bit of a moment on the exit there of turn 3, I think it is, but we go through on the back straight now, trying to just maintain this speed now, the momentum with Hamilton in second place here, but we go chasing after him now, and so it's a straight fight between myself and Lewis, the P1 here, probably in this first stint, which is very, very juicy, as we already dispatched Bottas, so I didn't think that was going to be the case, actually. I thought I might have to scrap both of them, but fair play, this just makes the battle even better for first place rather than second place with Lewis. So here we go now on to lap number 2 on the back straight. Of course, no DRS activated quite yet, but we've got overtake mode. We know the car is very good in a straight line once it gets into the toe of the car. And so here we go as we enter the brake zone, just enough to make a pop around the outside, get our car alongside him a little bit. We're going to go for that tighter line, though, on the entry and exit to the hairpin. It's going to allow us to get the throttle a little bit earlier than Hamilton, and you can see the benefit there as we go side by side. Great panning shot there on that flat out right hand. Don't brake early, try and go for this switchback move across the curb. Hamilton's left us the room, but not enough room, and Hamilton's come across us and hit us, and he's broken a bit of his front wing, I think that is, as Hamilton directly just drives into our side pod for some reason and tries to ram us off the road. He knew we had him there on the inside. We've got to the inside again to the stadium section. Now we're going to give him a taste of his own medicine, squeeze him out. Bottas down the inside there, side by side the two Mercs are, as we try and just control our car with a bit of a moment on the rear end. Thankfully control it, and through the last two corners then we're up into first place of the German Grand Prix. Hamilton down to third and maybe limping with a bit of front wing damage that was directly from the contact he made with yours truly there, and I can't see how that was anything but his fault there. I mean, I had enough room, I was fully alongside him, I was driving in a straight line right on the edge of the circuit there, so it's all on his onus to give me room and give himself room, which he did have on the right hand side. Instead he thinks to just drive straight towards me, towards my car, push me towards the grass, and instead actually gets a bit of karma and breaks a bit over his front wing. So in the words of Fernando Alonso, yeah, karma. So there you go, but Hamilton does actually get back into second place, actually, ironically then, saying that, because he has this right line speed against Bottas, but I imagine in the corners it's only a matter of time before he is really overtaken by his teammate. But let's have a look at a replay then on board with Hamilton then. This was a brilliant little battle there. Look at that lovely stuff there, side by side there. We brake early on purpose, get the switchback done. He's actually done at this point, but then here he just keeps turning left into what is turning into a right-hander corner. Slow it down, and we're going to pause it here, and look at this. At this point, you should be straightening up your steering wheel, not continuing to turn left as my car enters his view, and that's the contact that was made there, the wheel-to-wheel, front wing to front wing. I'm actually quite lucky I didn't lose a bit of my front wing there on the right-hand side, but he has done. He's lost his end plate, and so here we go now. Bottas trying to make a move, and it's a lovely little move to the inside there, that right-hander, and he's going to go on the outside then for the next left. Hamilton still manages to keep it in, but here comes Verstappen now, so Hamilton's hindering not only his teammate, but also now is maybe getting in the way of Verstappen here as he tries to make a move there. Verstappen on the right hand side, can he actually get Bottas here? Verstappen goes for it, he's trying to go for the double Mercedes pass there for second place. Fair play to Verstappen there, great in the real life German GP, seems like pretty damn decent right now in the game as well, as he's up into second place. Bottas there slots into third, and Hamilton is down to fourth place. Eventually though, on lap number 16, see in the top left, Bottas has got back up into second place. Verstappen's third. Hamilton, I'm not too sure. He's in fourth place right now, maybe, I think, looking at the mini-map. Yeah, I think he's just about hanging on to fourth place. But on lap 6 then, you can see a little bit of lock-up here and there, a little bit of unstable rear end, and we are going to indeed come in now on this lap for our first of a two-stop here. I'm not too sure what Bottas, Verstappen, Hamilton, what all they're doing. All I know is that I've got a pit right now. But we come into the pit lane with a bit too much vigour here a little bit. We dip a tyre into the gravel. That nearly just about sends me into the wall there. That was actually very lucky. Actually, watching that back, I actually got so lucky there. That could have been an easy crash in the pit lane entry, and the most embarrassing moment in an F1 career mode episode that I've ever had there on that entry point. That little dip into the gravel just carried my car a little bit. Thankfully not, so we're onto the set of medium tyres now, and we continue on with this two-stop strategy. Like I said, we'll have to see if Bottas and the likes of Hamilton don't come in on this next lap. I imagine they might be doing that one stop where they stretch the softs and go to a set of hard tyres, but I truly believe the two-stop for us today is the better way to go. We've got a much better car than we had last season to make this work, and we can make these overtakes work, I think, and not get stuck too much in traffic. And so here we go on lap number 9 now, overtaking Antonio Giovinazzi. Squeezes us quite aggressively there to the point where we have to dip a tyre on the right hand side into the grass whilst we overtake him there. So I don't know why Antonio feels the need to be that aggressive defending me. There's no point. The Haas car is the worst car on the grid, I believe, on the R&D chart, so no chance there for him. And so we're up into P10 And as we move on to lap number 10, we're going to try and make it P9 if we can, down the inside of Lando Norris at the far side of the Grand Prix whilst doing it. And it's a very sweet move on the inside of turn 1. Unconventional move into turn 1, of course, in real life, but in the game possible just about. And we're up into P7, and now we chase after Hockenheim. Of course, a few other people in the pit lane, including, I think, both Ferrari cars, that looks like there, and a Red Bull. So I imagine lap 10, I think they've stretched it. I think they've gone to a set of hard tyres, to be honest. I think that's what's happened here. So we overtake Hockenheim then, who again, like Gio, squeezes us to the right there. So that just appears to be the AI racing line of squeezing whoever's trying to overtake them on the outside there. But we get up into P6 nonetheless, and now we chase after Alexander Albon, who's actually doing quite a good job here in a lofty P5. But saying that, I think Devin Butler obviously showed the Toro Rosso got some good pace in qualifying at least. So we're going to try and now go on the left-hand side, just like Hamilton, though. He's going to squeeze us. This time, though, it's a little bit frosty. We have to go to the outside. They're a little bit off circuit, but we keep the foot in there around the outside. FIA say nothing about that, so we're thankful for that, and we get up into P5. Not the cleanest pass, of course, but needs must. We need to make that kind of overtake work because he was going to get in our way and was being rather annoying on the left-hand side. Again, I don't know. So there's some funny racing lines these AI take definitely around some of these circuits in terms of giving you the room. But here we go now, down the inside of Kevin Magnussen, and we're up into P3 now as the sun is fully out at Hockenheim. Meanwhile, my teammate Kimi Raikkonen leads the Grand Prix in the Alfa Romeo Racing car. Second place is Sergio Perez in the McLaren. So these two on mediums, and they are definitely doing that one stop from medium to hard tyres. So we've got to go ahead and overtake them, but they're actually going to have their own battle before I even catch up to them. As Sergio Perez now goes for a move to the inside of turn 3, that is, or turn 2, I can't quite remember, to be honest, but Raikkonen keeps his foot in on the inside, and it's a great little scrap there between the Mexican and the Finn, my teammate. But who's going to win the drag race then? The McLaren with DRS open, so I think that he's going to have that up into P1. It won't matter, of course. Eventually, we will overtake both of them, I would say, either on track or once they make their overtake for their one and only stop of the afternoon. But I have actually seen on the race director then, on the pause menu, that Bottas, Hamilton, the likes of Verstappen are on a set of hard tyres going to the end of the Grand Prix. The two Ferraris, interestingly enough, though, are on a 2-stop like me, so we'll see how that pans out for them. But we go to the outside then of Raikkonen trying to make a move. Again, like the move we did with Hamilton on lap number 2, we go for the switchback effectively there, try and straighten the car faster than he can, get the power down earlier, and that's going to see us through on the right-hand side. And this time, we go side by side, but squeeze him out, and probably that's something we should have tried to do with Hamilton. But of course, Hamilton had a bit of a faster car in a straight line compared to Raikkonen, maybe with the exit and the tyre weight he's got right now. So we're up into P2 easily then, and now we can chase after Sergio Perez in P1. Will he come in, though, make our life easy? Probably not, knowing the AI, knowing my luck in the midfield, but let's see here. I say midfield fights, of course. Right now we're actually fighting for P1, so it's actually quite crazy to think we're fighting Sergio Perez in the McLaren, but I'm sure that won't be really the case long haul. I mean, it would be fantastic, because technically McLaren should be right up here on the R&D chart, but alas, they've just not shown the pace, have they? But we set the fast lap of the Grand Prix then on lap 14, 20 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and once we're past Perez, it's pretty much now a case of getting in clean air and just trying to use that clean air to our advantage and make this 2-stop work. This is the crunch time point where we need to be pumping in the lap times to make sure we can get that one extra pit stop ahead of the guys who are doing one stops, a la Bottas, Verstappen, Hamilton as well. And so we swoop past Perez on the right hand side, nice and easy. He goes around the outside, tries to get the move back, so we have to go and go a little bit defensive and squeeze him out on the exit. We get that done, and now it's just a case of focus on, blinkers on, and try and get the head down for these lap times now and try and get that one pit stop gap. And so with that, we've moved to lap 20. My team have called me in on this lap to come in for the pit stop, the second pit stop onto another set of mediums. We can see on the top right there, 2 green sectors, and this lap's been pretty damn decent there. I've really, found some extra pace in the tyres despite the amount of tyre wear we've got, and I feel kind of almost like Lewis Hamilton at Silverstone in real life in 2019 here, on worn tyres, still having the pace to set a fast out of the Grand Prix, because we come through the 2 right-handers, the car pretty hooked up here on hot lap mode and rich mix, and across the line it will be a fast lap of the Grand Prix, a new fast lap of the Grand Prix. We've already had a fast lap of the GP, but we've just gone and set a better one there on lap 20, and so really using that pace and that tyre advantage to our use here. So on to lap 21 though, finally lap time started to go down. You saw there 2 reds there, so I had that fast lap, and then literally as soon as I set that, I think I warned my tyres out off the cliff because they started to go off quite badly. So we come in now for that second stop, but the gap I grew from what was 10 seconds to 14 seconds in those laps since we overtook Perez. So we did a really great job at trying to extend that gap, and it means now we come out in second place outright on track and Verstappen is right there in first place on hard tyres there. So the hards really were not performing too well for Verstappen, even with my worn soft tyres, and now they're doubly not going to be performing well against my fresh soft tyres. So we move on to lap 23 then, 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and I'm feeling pretty confident that we should be able to get into first place of this German GP. And obviously, I haven't really stated it, but of course, yeah, Hamilton, with that damage he had from that contact we made, he's had to make a longer pit stop. He's really fallen back in this Grand Prix. Not too sure where he is exactly, but there we go. We're up into first place of the German GP. A very easy move on Max Verstappen there. And now we just try and see this through. 11 laps to go. Control this race. Do something I haven't done, because remember, the wins we've got so far, I've not really had too much of a chance to actually control it from the front and relax a little bit and go at my own pace and control the race pace at the front, but on my own accord. This time I can, and so I'm going to enjoy that and try and soak it in here. Meanwhile, Hamilton is battling Sergio Perez, that is, in the McLaren car. He's ahead of Perez and Raikkonen then, so those two doing quite well, though, to be fair, the Mexican and the Finn, to be right up there. But Hamilton fighting for what I believe is P4 in the GP here, and Perez actually goes down the inside and gets him back here. He's not got damage anymore, Hamilton, because he's changed his front wing, but the McLaren there just feeling very feisty there, so don't know if Hamilton's still limping with any kind of floor damage or anything like that as well that we can't see. But Perez is on the right hand side trying to really overtake the Brit there he goes, and it's pretty damn cool to see actually the McLaren fighting the Mercedes this hard there. But Hamilton surely at some point will have this, but Raikkonen now is also lurking on in the background there as well, so you never know, because they continue to fight here on the next lap here. So this is like 3-4 consecutive laps that Hamilton and Perez are fighting, so very nice scrap. But that's just bringing in Raikkonen into this race, and also Sebastian Vettel, who's lurking about in the background on soft tyres. Remember, the Ferrari's doing the two-stop. Obviously, they don't have too much pace compared to myself and the Alfa in terms of where our cars now in terms of R&D pace, so the Ferrari's having to limp a little bit further back down the field, but still. But look at this fight there. It's now 3 wide between Raikkonen, Hamilton and Perez there. Brilliant racing at the end of this Grand Prix there. Hamilton gets that, though, into P4. Raikkonen up into P5, though. Meanwhile, we've got a fight also brewing between P3 and P2, so at least if my race isn't nothing much is happening in my race, there is a lot of scrapping going ahead behind me in the top 10. It's brilliant to watch. Bottas down the inside, that is, for the next left-hander. Going to squeeze Verstappen straight out there, get the elbows out on the rear end, and the Finn is up into second place. Verstappen will have to settle for third place at the German GP. Meanwhile, you've got Raikkonen and Perez now scrapping away for P5, I believe this is, and P6, and Vettel is going to come through with DRS. Will he try and go for the double pass on Perez and Raikkonen? He gets Perez. Will he get a chance to go down the inside of Raikkonen? No, he won't. He's going to have to sit behind his former Ferrari teammate for now, and we'll have to wait maybe until the last lap of the Grand Prix to do it here, as we're on the second last lap this is, and so we move on to the last lap of the GP then, and here goes Vettel with DRS. Unfortunately for Raikkonen, this should be a pretty easy move for Seb, and so Raikkonen will finish up and think it'll be P6, which is still not too bad considering he started P11, did a one stop from medium to hard tyres, which I don't really think is the outright best strategy around this circuit. The hard tyres aren't particularly amazing, and the mediums, obviously you compromise yourself on the raw speed, but he's done a pretty good job to recover 5 places there up into P6, I think that is. But here we come now on the last lap, taking it nice and easy there, a few seconds to play around with against Valtteri Bottas, and it's going to be our 3rd win of our career and season here at the German GP.
Great drive, we did it, good job.
Congratulations to Alfa Romeo then for their excellent win today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Alfa Romeo have been winning fans the world over with their brilliant driving, showing that they're a force to be reckoned with out there on the track. They'll certainly be building on that fan base after today's excellent results.
So a 3rd win of the season, absolutely awesome stuff there. So that will kind of help us get back into this swing of momentum we're trying to find to try and close down this massive gap. But the gap is still so large, 55 points to Hamilton there. But we do a great job, a good chunk is taken out of him. Not as big as the chunk Hamilton got back from us at Silverstone, so it's not quite made up for last episode, but it's good enough, I guess. In the Constructors, Alfa Romeo, then we continue to be comfortable in P2, then ahead of Ferrari and Red Bull. But I don't think we're going to have too much of a chance to close up some Mercedes, because Raikkonen just isn't fully with me yet, and Hamilton and Bottas are very consistent right now in this season so far, so it's going to be very tough, but obviously we'll keep on playing on and trying our best. But we come to the end of the episode then, and after that success then, we've got a decent amount of R&D points to spend with that win, and so we're going to go ahead and purchase 2 air updates here. It's going to be the 2 major updates at the end of the tree here, the front and rear downforce. Both cost the same as that one up top on the right, so I went for these ones because we've got also 2 minors to go either side once we've got these upgrades. So those will take 2 race weekends, so we should have a chassis upgrade next episode of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and then after the summer break for this season, we've got 2 upgrades at the Belgium GP, and in theory, if Mercedes plateau, hopefully, fingers crossed, let's all say it in the comments below, if Mercedes plateau, fingers crossed, then we could be on level with them on the R&D chart, which could be very exciting by the time we get to the Italian Grand Prix for us as an Italian team, of course, but we'll have to see, but that's been a really, really great episode at the German GP, a really great race for us in terms of the pace, the feeling in the car was great at the end there, be able to control the GP, and so yeah, be sure to smash that up, and guys, if you did enjoy it as much as I did to drive it, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, subscribe for weekly Formula content. I've been Aarava, have a nice day, I'll see you guys next time, goodbye.